I'm Jayne Foster and I'm the Operations Coordinator at Hope for Tomorrow, which means I have quite a lot to do with the drivers of the units and contact with them. We very often hear stories from the nurses who work on the units and the patients themselves, but we don't normally hear, or very rarely do we hear from the drivers, and they play such an important part in the whole procedure of the unit going out, because let's face it, it wouldn't be mobile if they weren't driving the unit. So I'm really pleased today to introduce you to Averil, who is our driver of the Salisbury unit, based at Salisbury District Hospital. So Averil, hello, welcome.
Hello.
How you doing?
Thank you. I'm fine, thank you. You?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, not too bad. So, as I said, the Salisbury unit is based at Salisbury District Hospital, but you go out 4 days a week, don't you? Could you just remind us where you go on those 4 days, please?
Right, okay. On a Tuesday, we go to Fordham Bridge. Yeah. Wednesday, Friday, Gillingham. And on a Thursday, we go to Westbury.
Lovely, perfect. So, how long have you been driving the unit?
I think it's actually about nearly 2.5 years now.
Is it 2.5 years? Yeah. Gosh, I can remember when you first started. It seems an awful long time ago.
It does.
Yeah. So, first of all, then, Averil, I'd like you just, if you could, just sort of explain to people kind of what your job entails, because it's like we were talking earlier. It's not, you don't just drive. It's not just a question of driving the unit and that's it. So if you could just give us an idea of what you do on a day-to-day basis when you take the unit out and how you're going the distance for Hope for Tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, like you said, you know, it's not just a driving role. When we have new patients come on, I get introduced as the driver. I say, oh yeah, I'm just the driver.
Yeah,
but you know,
yeah, but you're not just a driver, are you?
It's a lot more than that. It's all basically, it's not only just sort of like driving the lorry, it's setting it up, making sure everything's in the right position, making sure that everything's, you know, ready to go for when the nurses come on board. Yeah, it's looking after the patients when they are on board, you know, obviously making sure that they're okay for drinks, supply biscuits until the current situation, which obviously we can't at this time of moment.
Yeah.
And so just being there, you know, with a smiley face behind the mask for themselves. So
it's like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think I think the drivers tend to be you're like the first face, really, aren't you? You're the first face that they see when they come on board. You're the one that's introduced, or, you know, you meet and greet, basically, don't you? And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think the driver
build up a rapport.
Yeah,
you know, build up a rapport with the patients. So and it's also fault diagnosing as well, as you know, Jane. You know, I'm often, you know, emailing or phoning you saying, right, you know, we've got this problem, and it's nipping it in before it stops the service, because in the past, obviously, the service has been pulled because there's been problems, and it's basically trying to stop that before it gets to that point, because this service definitely needs to keep going.
Absolutely, and more so now, I think, with the whole situation that everybody's in at the moment, and the demand for all treatments, cancer treatments, to continue, and for patients, you know, cancer doesn't stop. You know, it's something that continues, and we need to ensure that the service does that, and people can come to the units to have their treatment. So sort of working on from that, then, you know, with the COVID situation, has that changed your job significantly? What differences has it made to you day to day?
To be quite honest, I think it's changed everyone's day to day working, you know, environment and conditions. Because it's earlier starts, later finishes. Obviously, we can't treat as many patients as what we used to be able to. We've had to reduce it down, etc., etc. So that means it makes the days longer. But as long as the patients get treatment, that's the main priority. You know, at the end of the day, I mean, this is why it's called a mobile cancer care unit, because it is a mobile cancer care unit. So the patients can come to us. It's not a poor, you know, to sit in a park outside a hospital or anything. It is to make their lives easier. That's what it's here.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. So looking forward, then, hopefully, when all this is kind of maybe over, if or when, what are you most looking forward to? You know, to when things
to be quite honest, yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, there's a couple of things. In a working environment, I'm looking forward to having more contact with the patients, because before, you know, I used to offer a holding hand for them, pull up a chair, used to be able to obviously try and, you know, comfort them or just, you know, lend a listening ear. Because of the current situation, I can't do that. And I obviously, you know, keep the distance and everything else, which I find very difficult. You know, when you're in this role, it's a caring role, whether you're a driver, nurse, or whatever you've been for with your patients, and you just want to be there to help them. Private role, I think being a grandmother, not to, you know, see my grandson on his first birthday and having more contact with my children and children, to be quite honest. I think like everyone, you know, everyone just wants to get back to normality, whatever normal is.
Yeah, absolutely, and being with family, and I think that's really important. And I think it's been really hard for people, you know, for not seeing family and friends and loved ones. So just rounding it up then, why do you think people should support Hope for Tomorrow? Why do you think it's so important that we have that support?
I think anyone that's got any doubts, they ought to speak to one of our patients and get one of our patients to tell them how important this charity is and what it provides, you know. After they've spoken to our patients, I don't think they'd have any doubts whether, you know, to obviously volunteer, help, you know, fund or whatever. I mean, our patients are all very grateful when they come on board, especially with the current situation, because they thought that maybe our service might get pulled because obviously staff shortages, needing to go elsewhere. But thank goodness, you know, we've kept going because it's safer for the patients to come to us than what it is to go to the hospital. You know, at the end of the day, I think, you know, speak to the patients and that will definitely make your mind up.
Fantastic. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Well, Averil, thanks ever so much for giving up your time to come on today. I know you're very busy. So it's just fantastic to see you. I haven't seen you for ages. Hair's nice. I like the hair. And hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yeah, and you take care, Jayne.
Yeah, you too. Take care. Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.